ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स् 45 स्थाणौ पुरुषवद्भ्रान्त्या कृता ब्रह्मणि जीवता जीवस्य तात्विके रूपे तस्मिन् दृष्टे निवर्तते तत्त्वस्वरूपानुभवात् उत्पन्नं ज्ञानमञ्जसा अहं ममेति चाज्ञानं बाधते दिग्भ्रमादिवत्. So, from verse number 42 onwards, Shankaracharya ji has been talking about this Jnana Phalam, which knowledge has been acquired by the Shravana Mananam and Nididhyasana. So, and as I said in the last class, that immediate and direct benefit of this Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, or of this knowledge, is Ajnana Nivrittihi, and removal of the ignorance. And once the ignorance, which is the cause, goes away, the Ajnana Karyam, what is born of ignorance, also goes away. Karana Nashe Karya Nasha, this is what we understand. When the cause is destroyed, the effect also gets destroyed. So the product of ignorance, of course, is the error or misconception, and it is expressed in the form of a smallness centered on the I. So that is we call jiva. Jiva is nothing but a sense of smallness with respect to the self. That's called jiva. That will go away. The jivatvam is a smallness. Well, that also will go away because that is born of ignorance. You are not basically small. You are all pervasive. You are limitless. But you take yourself to be a jiva or a small being. Well, ultimately, so when ignorance goes away, this jivatvam also goes away. The smallness centered on the self, that is a Bhranti, that also goes away. And then Shankaracharya feels, well, this word Jivatvam basically may be a vague for the student, and so he replaced that word Jiva by saying, that Jivatva Nivritti is equal to Ahankara Mamakara Nivritti. There is no I sense and there is no mind sense. So I and mind also will go away. That is how even Gnani has been described as a Nirahankaraha Nirmamaha. Bhagavan himself has told in the Bhagavad Gita, Nirmamo Nirahankaraha, etc. So Nirmamaha, basically free from the sense of mind. Nirahankara, free from the sense of I in the body. That's all. I sense doesn't go away. But now he does not equate the I with the body. So we were seeing yesterday that verse number 46 we were seeing, and we have to see the words now. So Tattva Swarupa Anubhavat. Tattva Swarupa Anubhava means Anusandhan. Dwelling upon. Dwelling upon what? Tattva Swarupam. Dwelling upon my own nature. Tattvam means truth. Essence actually. Tattva means essence. Essence is equal to the self. Essence is equal to the truth. Essence is equal to Atma. That is what it is. So dwelling upon my own nature. Tattva Swarupa Anusandhanam means dwelling upon my own nature. What will happen then? Jnanam Utpannam. Well, then definitely a knowledge will arise. Well, what will be the knowledge? I am not declinable. That's all. I am not declinable. Declinable means all, body declines, mind declines, senses decline, prana declines, everything declines. That is not me. But that is how the definition of the, in fact, shariram. We say all the three are shariram. Shiryamanatvar shariram. Basically they decline. Physical body declines, subtle body decline, causal body also declines under one condition. Yeah, causal body generally grows. Other two bodies may decline, but causal body all the time grows because this person accumulates lot of karma and lot of vasanas in every janma. So that becomes very healthy. Causal body becomes very healthy. And therefore, causal body only destroys under one condition, if you gain knowledge that I am not a karta of any kriya, and therefore the sanchita also goes away. Well, and then vasanas also will go away. We'll see that. Mano nasha and vasana kshaya also we are going to discuss. So basically, that also will go away. So I mean, in case of Atma Jnanam, as the Atma Jnanam dawns in a person, basically this body slowly disintegrates. Anyway, but it is shariram ultimately. That's what I want to convey. It is declinable. I am indeclinable. Yeah. This is a grammar also, it is like this. In grammar, they call indeclinable as a avyayah. Na vyeti iti avyayah. Bhagavan himself say while describing about Atma, he says avyayah. So avyayah means na vyeti. In grammar also it is like that. Avyayah indeclinable means what? Which doesn't have a gender. Which doesn't have a number. And which doesn't have a vibhakti, etc. Which is not a karta, which is not a karma, which is not a karaka. I mean, as Pujya Swami says, I am free from any karaka. I am not a karma, I am not a karta, I am not a karan instrument, I am not a sampradana prayojanam, I am not a lokas adhikaranam. So I am free from the karakas. So all the karakas basically about the words, well, which decline. And that is how asmat pratyaya, I mean the word asmat, maybe few people may not like what I am saying right now, but the people who are exposing themselves to Sanskritam, for them I am taking a little liberty to convey something. It's a wonderful thing. What is that is, basically there are two types of words, declinable and declinable. Indeclinable, I'm sorry, not undeclinable, indeclinable. So which declines, which definitely has certain forms. I mean, forms in terms of, the cases. Like Ramaha is a declinable word. Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramau, Rama, and all this declension. We call them declensions. Same way, Asmat Pratyaya, that Asmat word is also declinable. Aham, etc. will be there. Aham, avam, vayam, etc., etc. And so from mam, avam, naha, etc. Maya, avabhyam, asmadbihi, mahyam, avabhyam, etc., etc. So, mama. The sixth case is mama. And so, ahankara and mamakara, declinable. That's what I want to convey. So, first case is aham. Sixth case is mama. That's what we are discussing. Jiva means, which is saturated. This jiva, he is saturated with ahankara and mamakara. All the time. His whole center of activity is based on these bodies only. Because for him that's a reality. That's all. And the second type of activity he has is for the people for whom he has a sense of belonging. Mine, my child and my this and my entire, this is called samsari. Because basically ignorant. Ahankara, one who has ahankara, mamakara, is ignorant, because I am Atma, basic consciousness, which is asangaha. I am not connected. Ahankara, mamakara, if you want to say in a one word in Sanskritam, very simple word, and that is called sangaha. Ahankara, mamakara means sangaha, relationship. Because in ahankara also there is a relationship, in mamakara also there is a relationship, and therefore ahankara, mamakara can be represented in a single word called sangaha. And this is how the person is. So all the time consider himself as a relative, whatever. So related to the body, and then, but Swamiji, how can you say he is free from relationship? Well, your own experience is there of a deep sleep where you are not related. If you are not related to anybody, are you non-existent in deep sleep? No. So therefore your nature is basically free from any relationship. And so first relationship is ahankara. When you get up, you definitely identify with the body. First relationship with all the three bodies. And then getting related to the people around and the objects around with the sense of belonging, mamakara. So this is how it is. And so basically indeclinable. Now I come back to again this point. So ahankara and mamakara are declinable, because this is a declension, first case and sixth case. So declinable are means basically, they decline. And this avyayam, Atma is avyayam, means Atma does not have any kind of gender, Atma does not have any kind of a vachanam, does not have a number, because Atma is non-dual. Where is the question of number? More than one, right? Atma is non-dual, and therefore no number. And limitless. Limitless does not have any other thing other than itself. If you count any other thing, Atma automatically Atma gets dropped from the limitlessness status. And therefore, definitely, so this is, it doesn't have a number, it doesn't have a gender, free from any gender, and also free from any kind of this karakas also, free from all these declensions, karta, karma, karanam, etc. He is free from everything. So this is very beautiful, indeclinable. Atma is indeclinable. In grammar also it is avyayam, and in here also we call it avyayam. Navyeti, which does not decline, is called avyayam. Anyway, so here jnanam utpannam, what jnanam will be generated through this dwelling upon my own nature, that I am not declinable, I am not related to anything, I am asangaha, like space. Asangoham, 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 punah punaha. And you know, in Nirvana Shatakam also this has been described in one verse. Namrityu, namrityu na shanka na me jati bhedaha, pita naiva me naiva mata na janma, etc. So that shows no relationship. So free from all relationship, free from duality. Relationship means duality. Definitely. Relationship means duality. I am non-dual, therefore not related. Because there is nothing else to relate to. Anyway, and that asangam atma jnanam utpannam, what will it do? Ajnanam bhadate. Ajnanam bhadate. It directly knocks off ignorance. So indirectly it knocks off ahankara and mamakara. We have to understand. It knocks off, this is what the direct benefit is. Well, ignorance is removed with this, when the knowledge dawns in a person, then ignorance goes away. And then indirectly this now ahankara, mamakara, which are born of ajnanam, that also goes away. Because the karanam goes away, the karya, the effect automatically goes away. When cause is destroyed, effect will be destroyed. And therefore asangoham, when the person knows that I am not related, so he doesn't need any emotional support now. Person definitely have relationship with the people to derive some emotional support. Well, this person doesn't need. So, okay, he doesn't need, but he won't tell to others, in his family members, well, I am asangaha, I am not related to any of you. He doesn't say like that. So, basically, it's his duty to give security to others, it's his duty to give love to others, it's his duty to give happiness in their lives. So, he should support all. But Jnani enjoys security on its own. independent in terms of security, independence in terms of knowledge, independence in terms of happiness, independence in terms of peace, etc. will be there. So this is the this has been described here. Jivatva nasha or aham, ahankara, mamakara, etc. also will go away. Badate dik brahmadivat example. So, like they give a very beautiful thing. This example is for what? First let me tell you. This once you know the eastern direction, then automatically all other three directions will be known. So same way here, if you destroy ignorance, then what is born of ignorance will be automatically destroyed. That's what the example is. And for us it is very important, for people who are doing namaskara to our, like Puja Swamiji or somebody, they are very particular, because when they do namaskara to Swami, they will not do namaskara facing south. So sometimes you feel that Swami is standing facing north, then they will have, the people who are prostrating will have to face south. So they will not come in the front, then they will do from the side. That's what they will take care. And a direction, etc. is very important in our life also. So many of our activities are direction based, and especially religious activity. All our religious activity, all our nitya naimittik karmas, in fact, are all direction based. And therefore, and suppose such a person, suppose the person is doing a Sandhya Vandanam every day, suppose, because of nitya karma, and he has chosen, well, to gain this knowledge I need a Gayatri, etc. for clarity in mind, for basically have a clarity in terms of Purushartha, etc. And later on Atma and Atma Viveka also, well, requires clarity to discriminate between these things. And therefore let me do Gayatri. And therefore Sandhya Vandanam he is doing, suppose. Then that such a person goes out for 2 days. Saturday, Sunday he wants to go to some place. Like Kerala, he might have gone to some place. Now first time he is going to that place, and he reaches to that place in the night, Friday night reaches, late night. And now next morning, Saturday morning, he has to do this Sandhya Vandanam. And Sandhya Vandanam has to be done before sunrise actually. Before sunrise it has to be done. And therefore this person got up in the morning, early morning. Still there is a darkness because of the winter, and now he wants to do that Sandhya Vandanam. But in the morning Sandhya Vandanam, Pratha Sandhya has to be done facing east, and but he doesn't know what is east, because this is a new place for him, and he has arrived also in the night, and so he got up in the morning, but he doesn't know what to do. So he has to break the rule, and he has to wait till the sun rises. When sun rises, he will know the eastern direction, and not only the eastern direction, other directions also will be known to him. This is the example. Dik Brahmadivat. Dik means direction, and there is a Brahma. He doesn't know. So basically, ignorance of eastern direction goes away. That is the direct benefit, right? That's a direct benefit to him. But also he will know now other directions, west, north, south, etc. all will be known to him immediately. Definitely. If you face east, on your left will be definitely left, what will come? Somebody knows? Left side what will come?
West.
West, correct. West? I am saying if you faced east, where the west will be? On the back side, right? But I am talking about north and south.
Yeah. But not either.
Not at the back.
North will be, left side north or right side north?
Left side north.
Correct. Very good. Very good. Very good. So you don't have Dik Brahma. Definitely, you don't have any kind of a Brahma then. Therefore, don't worry. So, Paramparaya Prayojan. What Shankaracharya ji gives example is a Sakshat Prayojanam, direct benefit, and Paramparaya Prayojan, indirect benefit. Ignorance removal, direct benefit. And what is born of ignorance, this sense of smallness, etc., etc., ahankara, mamakara, all the time, related to the people, and the raga, dvesha born of that, and everything, and all this, hassles all. he is free from that. Once he knows that I am consciousness which is limitless, definitely he will get this kind of benefits also, that he considers himself as a free from ahankara, mamakara, etc. also. So these all parampara benefit, indirect benefits. Let's go to verse number 47 now. Samyak vijnanavan yogi svatmanyeva akhilam jagat ekam cha sarvamatmanam ikshate jnana chakshusha. So in previous two verses, we talked about jivatva bhranti, nivritti. Well, nivritti means the removal of this bhranti, removal of this notion that I am jiva, I am small, etc. And second benefit we have, second jnana phalam we have seen is aham mama bhranti nivritti, ahankara and mamakara nivritti. Now in this verse number 47, he talks about dvaita bhranti nivritti. That definitely Vedanta reveals that there is nothing other than me, or other than the self, or other than Parmeshwara. So that, there are many things, nanatvam, then there is a duality, etc., that is considered as a Brahma, that is born of ignorance. That also will be gone. This is also an indirect benefit. This is also indirect benefit. When ignorance itself gets destroyed, this is the effect. The duality which is born of it, a sense of duality, not duality, sense of duality is there in the person, that also goes away. So, whole world basically, that's how, in the Kaivalya Upanishad, they say, Mayyeva sakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pratishtitam, Mayyeva sarvam layam yati, tad brahma, etc. aham asmi. So, the whole world emerges from me, while it is sustained by me, resolved into me, and therefore it is non-separate from me, and therefore, there is nothing called, there is nothing which is separate from me, which is different from me, because whole world is basically is sustained by me, whole world is in me basically, and therefore there is nothing other than me. All the world, entire world is non-separate from me. Therefore it cannot do harm also. It cannot do harm to me, because basically it has come from me, sustained by me, resolves into me, and therefore definitely it's a lower order of reality. So it looks like a cock and bull story. Naturally, it looks like a cock and bull story. So because the I is placed in the body, and then when you read this statement, will not make any sense. Does not make any sense. When I is placed very firmly in this particular body, where is a question of the world which is born of me and etc. So anyway, but one has to assimilate this thing through the example, through your own intimate experience of dream. So, if I forget my waker status, due to sleep, then whole dream world arises in me. And galaxies and stars and mountains, and even they don't exist separate from me, you know very well. And that we are able to say in waking, but when we are actually in the dream, we are not able to see this fact that the whole world is born of me, or it is sustained by me. That I am not able to say that while dreaming. So in dream world, the dream world is real and is capable of frightening me also. So how can you say, Swamiji, I feel the dream world is real during dream? It's simple. Because you see a dream tiger and you get frightened, that shows that you have given a reality to the tiger. For you it is a real tiger. And or dream thief, anything, etc. Or dream snake, whatever. So if you get frightened, etc., different types of emotion arises in you, shows that you have given reality. For you it is not a dream tiger, for you it is a real tiger. And for a dreamer, basically in dream world is different, it is outside me also. For a dreamer, dream world is outside me. So that experience everybody has. And but suppose out of that fear, when dreamer wakes up, then he will find that entire dream world, he will say this statement, Mayyeva sakalam jatam, from me the waker, the entire dream world is born. Mai Sarvam Pratishthitam, entire dream world was sustained by me. And Mai Sarvam Layam Yati, in me the waker, the entire dream has resolved. So, well, he wakes up, he can definitely say. So, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahihi Rivod Bhutam Yatha Nidraya. Actually, it is in Atmani. The entire world, it is in the Atma. But Mayaya Bahihi Iva Udbhutam, well, due to Maya, due to ignorance, etc., it is outside, right? Under the spell of ignorance, when the waker forgets his own nature, so under the spell of sleep, well, definitely he creates dream world, everything is born of him. But he feels that during dream, as though he is a dreamer and the dream world is outside him, definitely. And when he wakes up, he finds that the whole thing was born of me and from the waker and sustained by the waker and resolves into the waker. And therefore, whole dream world is non-separate from me. And then I have told you one more sentence we have to say, well, that the whole dream world is basically nothing but me. I only was in all these forms, right? Dream world, whatever was there, dreamer was also me. And all the dream objects, dream ocean and dream doctor and dream patient and whatever, all these opposite things are also, all opposite things. Dream fire also is me and dream water also is me, etc. Everything. So this is how, right now in waking state, I am still in a dream. Take that way. And therefore, I am a waker and this waking world is outside me. But if I still wake up, Uttishtata Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata, etc. That's how our Yamaraja has told to Nachiketa, Uttishtata Jagrata. He is listening to Yamaraja. He is in a waking state. Still he says, definitely get up and arise and see this. So still you are not aware of your own nature, real nature, that is consciousness you are not aware of, and therefore you are in a deep sleep state. Or you are in a dream, basically. And you same way, like in a dream, well, here also you say the entire world is different from you. But Jnani knows the fact, and so he does not give a reality to the world because he knows everything is born of consciousness, everything is sustained by consciousness, and everything resolves into consciousness, that is me. That is my real nature. And so I only appear as the entire world. Just as the waker appears as the entire dream world, same way I, the consciousness, appears as all this thing, including waker. Waker has arisen from consciousness. Waker's body also, this physical body has arisen from consciousness. Everything has arisen from consciousness. All this is non-separate from the consciousness. I am alone in all these forms. Then where is the question of Dvaitam? Where is the question of duality? There is nothing other than me. I am alone in all these forms. Just as Waker says, well, there is nothing other than me in the dream world, means there is Advaitam, non-duality. Same way here also. So this is also a benefit of Atmajnana. Dvaitam Nivrutti, Dvaita Bhranti Nivrutti, that there is a duality. And once you say there is a duality, there is something other than you, all negative emotions will arise. All negative emotions, including lust, and then anger also, jealousy also. You are definitely, when you become jealous, definitely there is someone else to whom you are jealous. There is an object of jealousy, object of anger, object of lust, everything, object of greed. Person does not have a greed of oneself. Person has a greed of money, etc., whatever. Definitely other than myself, which is not with me and I want to grab it, whatever. So definitely Dvaitam creates all negative emotions. And those emotions are created that makes the person suffer. Maybe other people will suffer later. Because of your anger, the other person will suffer, definitely gets hurt, etc. But anger arises at that time itself, the person is suffering. And therefore, anyway, so that is how this is considered as a benefit. That Dvaita itself creates and fear, my God, so much. That is how Dvaitathi Bhayam Bhavati. You must be knowing this statement. Dvaitathi Bhayam Bhavati. Whenever there is a duality, the fear is bound to be there. maybe it may not be the object right away a source of fear, but any object can become a object of a potential fear. I mean, it is a potential fear is there. Even you may say, well, I am not afraid of, Swamiji, somebody told me, I am not afraid of these potatoes and tomatoes, etc. I don't consider it as myself, but I am not afraid. But you don't know. Anytime it can create some problem in your stomach or anything, and can become a cause. I mean, if you must be knowing, even this tomatoes itself, they say, I have to verify it, but I can share with you so I can get sometime a feedback from you, that these tomatoes, if you eat too much, they create a stone in the either in the kidney or in the urinary tract, etc. And once I have seen the person who has a pain of that stone, man, is horrible. It's just horrible. So you see what tomatoes can do to me, but don't think so. And therefore, even an ant, a virus, you see now, a virus, which is a very, very, such a insignificant creature, insignificant. Still, it has created so much havoc in the world now. So anything if you have a feeling that anything is other than me, well, it may become a source of fear ultimately. Potentially, it is a source of fear. Anyway, this is about anyway. So this is a benefit of Atma Jnanam, and so here, Shankaracharya ji says, when knowledge dawns in a person, a total change in a perspective occurs. Total means just opposite. What is that? See, earlier I was identified with the body, right? And I look upon myself as a creature. Small creature. When I say I identify with this body, then I am a creature in this whole world, supported by the world. Well, world is a supporter, and I am supported, and who is constantly even bettered by the world also. The world is too large, and therefore definitely constantly bettered. We have all the complaints, a whole list of complaints we have for the people, for the objects, for politicians, everything. So, world, well, definitely, for world only you have lots of complaints, dissatisfaction, because you feel that world is constantly battering you. So, and anyway, so world is a supporter and I am supported. That is what under the spell of ignorance I believe. But when I gain knowledge, my identification is shifted from the body and I look upon myself as a consciousness. Samaj, but how to do that? I have told you several times. Several times I have told you. And there are 5 points all the time. You remind yourself these 5 points. Just 5 sentences are there. What is that? That body is drishyam. Body is a object of knowledge. Therefore, I am not. Because I am knower. And that is known. Knower and known cannot be one. And therefore, I am not the body. First thing. Second thing is, body is made up of elements. I know very well. Body is made up of elements. And therefore, definitely, I am distinct from that. Third thing. Body has all attributes. How can you say body has attributes? That's a matter of experience for you also. Your color of the body, your looks of the body, everything you are able to tell. Your height of the body, weight of the body, or the age, etc. Everything. So you are able to tell about your body. Body has certain attributes. As a conscious being, you know also all the attributes of the body, and therefore definitely body has attributes, and therefore and it is subject of experience for me, and therefore I am not the body. And then body is subject to change. You know very well. Body is subject to change, and that's how constantly undergoing modification, and therefore I am not that, because that's matter of experience for me. Otherwise you will not be able to tell this. Body is subject to change, you are agreeing with me, because it's a matter of experience for you also and for me also, for everyone. And therefore if it is that way also it becomes an object of experience as a constantly changing fact, a constantly changing entity. And therefore, what I experience is not me. What I know as object is not me. And so, I know that the body constantly change also. and body is ayaram gayaram. Means body is ayaram gayaram means body is temporary. It dies and the body is born. Everything you know, and therefore definitely you are not this body. These are the 5 factors. It is drishyam. It has attributes. It is made up of elements. It is subject to change, and it is temporary. Ayaram gayaram means it is temporary. It comes and goes. Physical body. But Swamiji, when physical body goes, then I also will not be there. I have explained you everything. I should not explain you again and again. But let's take during lifetime also, physical body is not there 24/7 with you. Therefore, it is just when you want to experience this physical world, physical body comes, as an instrument. And with that, with the help of that physical body, you experience physical world. So, we have discussed so much about all these things. So, it is ayaram gayaram, definitely. Ayaram gayaram. Therefore, I am not ayaram gayaram. And therefore, I am distinct from. So, that way, after a long practice, this is Nididhyasana. After a long practice, your eye shifted from the body to the consciousness. Then whatever I said you will be able to appreciate. What I have said, that the Mayeva Sakalam Jatam, Mai Sarvam Pratishtitam, Mai Sarvam Layam Yati, everything is born of me. Everything is sustained by me. Everything resolves into me. Well, definitely you are able to appreciate. Without consciousness, nothing can be born. The consciousness alone pervades everything. Where is the question of a birth of a wave without water being pervading it? Where is the question? So consciousness alone pervades everything. Consciousness alone is in all these forms, and that consciousness is my real nature, and therefore I am in all these forms. Well, you say, when I am in all these forms, in the form of space, in the form of in the form of water, air, etc., and other things also, made up of elements, everything. Well, but Swamiji, you said you are not, physical body is made up of elements. I am not made up of elements. Yes, definitely. But still I am in all these forms. Then what is the change? Change is, physical body is me. I am not the physical body. That's how you have to say. So all these forms are basically, when I say I am on all these forms, well, definitely they are all mithya. They are all superimposed upon me. Like water can definitely say. Water can say, I am in all the forms, I am in all these forms of waves. All the waves are basically non-separate from me. I am in all the forms. But still, if you really look into this, you find the water is a reality, wave is not a reality. So that is wave. Well, I can say I am in all this form of all physical body. They are all my forms. But you should understand, if name and form is a mithya thing basically. So that's not a reality of me. They are all just superimposition. Because I pervade everything, and so I basically appear in all these forms. That's better. I appear in all these forms. And the names are given by the human being, of course, for a particular form. Each form should have a particular name. Then only you can transact. Anyway, so that is how there is non-duality. So then in that case, consciousness supports everything. So then I become a supporter, and the whole world is supported by me. Could you follow? So under the spell of ignorance, we say the world supports me. Because I say this body, I am this body. Then if you say I am this body, then world is a supporter. You are supported. And now when you have shifted I from body to the consciousness, now you understand that you are supporter of everything. You pervade everything. Like the water pervades wave, water is a supporter and wave is supported. So that is how I pervade everything, and I am a supporter, and the whole world is a supported. And that is, this is called a perspective change. That is very beautifully told by Bhagavan. See, you can understand, under the spell of ignorance, you have a one vision, and when you gain knowledge, it's entirely opposite vision. Under the spell of ignorance, I say I am supported and world supports me. And now when I gain vision that I am basically consciousness, limitless consciousness, pervades everything, all the forms, then definitely I am supporter and the world is supported. So Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Yasyam Jagrati Sanyami Yasyam Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Yasyam Jagarti. I'm sorry, I spoke something wrongly. Yasyam Jagarti Sanyami या निशा सर्वभूतानां यस्यां जागृति संयमी तस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. So this is a vision. That's what has been described by Bhagavan. That for the person who is ignorant, for him the day, then the Jnani has a night for that. And when Jnani wakes up, there all the people are sleeping. And that is how, that shows a contrast. So this is a vision. Vision is totally of a contrast. Under the spell of ignorance, some world supporter, I am supported. Well, when you gain knowledge, I am supporter, world is supported. And you can understand very well because you only provide existence to the entire world. Ho gaya baat. Khatam. That's all. Simple. One argument. How can you be supporter? You provide existence to everything. Without consciousness, which is existence, nothing in the creation can exist. And therefore, whole creation is non-separate from you. Whole creation is supported by you. And so, this is about this verse. And so now let's go to the words of the verse. Samyak Vijnanavan Yogi. Vijnanavan. Like Bhagavan, Vijnanavan. One who possesses Bhaga is called Bhagavan. One who possesses Vijnana, knowledge, is called Vijnanavan. Wise person. One who has wisdom. And what kind of a wisdom? Samyak. Samyak means doubtless. Yeah, that is essential. Doubtless vision. Clear vision he has. Clear wisdom he has. But how can knowledge be clear? Well, knowledge will be clear through Shravanam and Mananam. But that is sufficient? No, that is not sufficient. For such person will not be able to say what we have discussed. I am supporter, etc. That he cannot say. Well, his eye has to shift from body to consciousness. And for that Nididhyasanam is required. A long Nididhyasanam is required. And assimilated knowledge. So that is what we have to understand. Samyak Vijnanam, and Samyak means which is well assimilated into subconscious mind. That knowledge which is doubtless, and he has gained it through the Shravanam with the help of teacher. Well, such knowledge, when it is assimilated, that's called Samyak. Then in that case, definitely, he can say what? Swatmani eva akhilam jagat ikshate. Akhilam jagat, entire world. Well, Swatmani, he sees the entire creation in himself. For others it is a joke, right? For others it is a joke, but for him it is a reality. This is how it is. And what kind he sees in himself means he sees in Atma. Which Atma? Sthula Shariram? No, definitely not. Sukshma Shariram? No. Karana Shariram? No. Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatirikta. So this is what we have seen in Tattvabodha, the definition of Atma. Such a Atma. In such a Atma, that is consciousness, which is distinct from three bodies, well, and which is a Sakshi of, we have seen that Sakshi of all the three, Avastha, etc., Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti. Such a consciousness, limitless consciousness, which is free from any kind of relationship and which is ever pure, well, that consciousness, the whole creation, all the names and forms, well, he sees in this self, in the I, which is like this. So, Akhilam Jagat, Swatmani eva ikshate, he sees. Sees means here, you can understand. It is to be understood, not seeing. Not let somebody, I am seeing the Atma in which everything is there. Nothing. You are Atma. There is a question of you are seeing the Atma. But when you drop this notion, if you remember well, 2-3 days ago we have discussed, when you drop this notion regarding yourself that I am the body, etc., automatically, because you are conscious being, that I am is self-evident. Now that I am will join with this consciousness, Brahman, limitless consciousness. Well, so you will have that clarity. Then why are they saying ikshate, sees? Because just as when you see any object, how much clear it is to you, right? It is so clear to you. Same way, your understanding should be with such a clarity. Okay, that is one thing. Then a little bigger jump in a next line. What is that? It says, ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate. So, ikshate is common for first line and second line. So, akhilam jagat, this yogi, samyak vijnanavan yogi, akhilam jagat swatmani eva ikshate. Ikshate, you have to borrow it from the second line. And now in second line it says, ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate. Basically, Ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate means he sees everything as a self, one self alone. I have already told you this. So even the duality goes away. When I say whole universe rests in me, then there is a relationship of supporter-supported relationship, and that kind of a little Dvaitam also still there. This is a penultimate step. First, there are two steps in this. What Shankaracharya ji discusses the knowledge, that Dvaita Nivrutti in two steps. First thing is, he sees the entire world in himself, non-separate from himself, consciousness. That is the first thing. And then second step is he sees the entire world as himself, not in himself, as himself. As himself he is seeing, then there is a question of Dvaitam. So we have to take two steps. Everything is in me, first step, and everything is me. Not in me, everything is me. And so when you understand that way, Dvaitam is swallowed by pointing out that, definitely this whole material, this universe is ultimately Mithya Rupa, all it is, my appearance only is this Jagat. So it doesn't have a separate existence other than the Atma. Therefore they are Mithya. So this is how, and again, suppose if you find a little difficulty in understanding, take your dream example, which is very intimate. What you are seeing right now, and if you find little difficulty, immediately switch over to dream. And take a waker and a dreamer, or waker and a dream world. Then you will find, yes, that it is able to understand. Here, if you are not able to appreciate the consciousness and the world, waking world, don't worry. Take a waker instead of a consciousness. And instead of this waking world, take a dream world. So waker and dream world also have the same relationship. The entire dream world is in the waker. First step. And then entire dream world is waker, not in waker. Right? This is understand. When he understands, when he wakes up, then only he understands. So here also this we are not able to understand, then we are in dream right now. Anyway, so that is nothing to worry. But then when we should have some kind of a consolation that why I am not able to appreciate, nothing to worry. Just as the waker enters into a dreamer body. See, we can discuss little bigger, in a little length, but see, waker creates a dream body and enters also. And there he says, I am, but then whatever says is a wrong thing. He says, I am so and so, etc. in a dream. That's a dream body. So, basically, waker only enters. A conscious being enters there. Waker only enters. And that now makes a dream body conscious. And then he sees entire dream world other than himself. Once he enters into a dream body, then definitely he identifies with the dream body. And then he says this dream world, whatever are there, dream objects, whatever, dream ocean and whatnot, dream mountains and everything. He says they are all different from me. That is what it is. But if the dreamer wakes up, he finds that the dream objects are also basically me, and even the dreamer himself also is me. Who says that? Waker. So this is where we have to understand. When you take your intimate experience, this is Vedanta Vedanta discusses only, Vedanta analyzes only our own experiences, really speaking, nothing else. We are not able to analyze our own experiences properly. So Vedanta throws a light on it. That's all it does. And how he knows all these things, he says here, Jnana Chakshusha, with the help of, with the eyes of wisdom. Jnana Chakshusha, with the eyes of knowledge, self-knowledge, he is able to see like this. What? Everything is in me and everything is me. That is what has been described as the third eye of a Lord Shiva. The third eye basically destroys everything, Ahankara, etc. And so in the Puranas, this Jnana Chakshu only has been described as the third eye. The physical eyes continue to see differences, but in the third eye, that is the knowledge, that is called Jnana Chakshu, it sees everything as one. So with these physical eyes, senses, sense organ basically, you are able to see everything different, and that will continue even after knowledge. But in the mind, well, this is the third eye is there, Jnana Chakshu. With the help of that, he sees everything one. Like one carbon, one carbon alone. Carbon is an element, you know very well. Carbon alone appears as a coal and carbon alone appears as a diamond. But only configuration is different. They say that way. So for a scientist actually who is having a third eye, for him both things are one as such. I mean both are carbon. That's what he knows. In that sense, but he does not see coal as a carbon through the physical eye. Coal he sees as a coal. And well, he is giving an example in the class. Suppose a scientist talks about. Then he utters a word coal and then he picks up coal only, not diamond. But he is seeing everything carbon, then why not he take instead of a coal, he takes a diamond and call it as a coal? No, he won't do. And even after the class is over, suppose you say, well, everything is carbon for you. Then I am taking the diamond and the coal I am giving you as some present. Well, that he will not. So, empirically differences should be respected. Please understand this. Certain Vedantins, they are not able to do that. Under the really speaking, a not proper understanding of mithya, they have this kind of a thing. Mithya means some kind of a useless thing. And there is no empirical existence also. We say whatever is mithya, name, form, everything has empirical existence and empirical existence. That differences are also there definitely between all objects, and that has to be respected. And therefore, ultimate truth is one. That's for sure. But empirical differences should be respected. Anyway, so let's go to now verse number 48. Atmaivaidam jagat sarvam atmano anyana vidyate mrudo yadvadgatadini swatmanam sarvamikshate. Now here in this verse, second line of the previous verse, ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate jnana chakshusha, with the help of the eye of a wisdom or eye of a knowledge, he sees everything as a self. That line is there, has been explained further in this verse number 48. So second, what it says is that I alone appear as everything. So when person wakes up and he can happily say, well, I was a dream river and I was a dream ocean, I was a subject and I was an object, I was a dream doctor, dream patient, this, that, etc., everything. So Atma eva idam sarvam jagat. So in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also, well, the dialogue between Maitreya and Yajnavalkya, in that also, I think Shankaracharya ji remembers this and must be telling, idam sarvam yadayam atma. This is a very big mantra is there, of course, in Maitreya Brahmanam. And this is ultimately, well, Yajnavalkya says to Maitreya, idam sarvam yadayam atma. Yad idam sarvam, whatever is there here is this atma. I am atma, this atma, which is aparoksham. That self-evident atma alone is all this thing. So sarvam idam jagat atmanaha anyat na vidyate. Well, so idam sarvam jagat. Well, definitely whole this, like I am playing different roles. That's all it means. Well, I am in all these forms means what? In mithya forms, right? So then definitely I am playing all these roles. Any role is a mithya. Actor is a satyam, but role is mithya. So I am playing different roles, just as an actor takes different roles in one and the same movie. Same way I am playing different roles right now in this as a creation. Atmana anyat na vidyate. So there is nothing other than Atma. So when, in a dream you may find something different from you and then you scream and wake up. And suppose when you scream and the neighbors come and then you narrate that in my room I have found a thief and that's how I scream. They say there is nothing other than you in your room. So that is what it is. So there is nothing other than you. Because of dream I was seeing something else. But the people who are awake, they say that there is no thief, etc. in your room, and so don't worry. So there you only were there in your room, etc. So same way, you can take this example. But what about God? You say everything is Atma. Then what about God? Well, God is there or not? Vedanta does not answer that question. Well, God, what kind of a God you are talking about? We ask the counter question. What kind of a God you are talking about? Well, if you are talking about God other than the Atma, or are you talking about a God as Atma? Tell us first that. Then we will answer. Then if you say God other than me, definitely, then God is also subject to arrival and departure. That kind of a God also is mithya, which is subject to arrival and departure. But if you are saying, well, God is Atma alone, Satchidananda, well, then it is my Atma. Where is the question of difference between me and the God? Well, what about God? What about God? So when you say, I am this everything, then they say, what about God? So, well, we say, God alone is the Atma. No, but if you say other than yourself, well, then it is the same mithya name and form. Mithya name and form. No, but it doesn't have any name and form. Then it is Atma. Then it is Atma. So, where Satchidananda Atma is, you can call Satchidananda Paramatma or Satchidananda Atma, or self or Brahman is one thing. So, God means Satchidatma means then Tattvamasi, etc. I mean, he is me and he is me or I am him, whatever. So, Swatmanaha anyat navidyate. So, Anatma Rupa Ishvaraha nasti. I mean, in form of, I basically as an Anatma, different from myself, different from the Atma, that Anatma Rupa Atma, Ishvara is basically Mithya. That is what has been told in Kenopanishad. Nedam yadidam upasate. Nedam yadidam upasate. Idantaya na upasate. What you worship as a God, that is not the reality of the God. But Swamiji, in morning you said so many things. That's what it is. Well, but then the worshipper also is mithya. The one who worships. So Swamiji, what a person does, mistake is this. Well, Ishvara is mithya, who worships, etc. But then who says the worshipper is satyam? Worshipper is also not satyam. Worshipper also is a mithya. Then what is worship is also mithya. Worshipped and worshipper, both are Satchidananda Atma. If you get that, if you have that understanding, no. Then worship. Better worship. So then better worship. Even though it is a mithya, you have not understood as a mithya. You are saying in your words, you are saying that that is mithya, worshipper is mithya. You are saying that is just that is at the level of tongue. In your understanding, you are not able to appreciate mithya, then better to understand it properly, mithya, etc., worship him. He will definitely give you this knowledge that you and me are one alone. What you are worshipping in this form and your form, everything is mithya. As a form you are worshipping to me, then definitely you are worshipping me in another form, given by the Shastra. No problem. But ultimately, both are mithya. Worshipper also is mithya, worshipped also is. But mithya means don't think again that a peel of banana, throwing. But mithya is very useful. Shastra is mithya, the teacher is mithya, everything is mithya. All name and form. Shastra also name and form. The teacher also is a name and form. And I, the mumukshu or a knower of this, I'm who is having a purushartha of a moksha also is mithya. Everything is mithya. But then so useful. If any one of them is not there, one cannot gain knowledge. Shastra is not there, where is the question of knowledge? Shastra is there, teacher is not there, no knowledge. Shastra is there, teacher is there, but no student, no knowledge. Could you follow? So beautiful it is. So, well, by somehow it has been ingrained in our personality. This mithya means something very useless and to be thrown out and some kind of that kind of a thing just doesn't go. Mithya is most useful thing. Atma is not going to help you anyway. You are Atma since Anadi Kala. I mean, Atma is Anadi and you are an Atma. But it has never come to your use. I mean, it doesn't reveal like that, well, okay, I am Brahman, etc. You take yourself as a jiva. And well, anyway, so everything is the whole setup. And that is how, instead of, I am telling you one thing today, instead of telling mithya, say Ishvara. That's better. You will not negate it. Ishvara. Names and forms are ultimately Ishvara. Then say Ishvara. Teacher, Ishvara. Shastra, Ishvara. I, Ishvara. Literally. This body, everything is Ishvara. And manifestation of a consciousness in the body, Chidabhasa, Ishvara. Everything Ishvara. Then you will not have a tendency to throw out. Basically, there is one thing alone. Either you say, as I told you, I think it is, I am repeating little, that either you say everything is Ishvara or say everything is Brahman. That's fine. These two sentences, just stick to these two sentences. No, this whatever is there is all mithya. All names and forms are mithya. And that adhishthanam is satyam. Forget about it. I say that everything is Ishvara. That's fine. That is his form. Ishvara alone has appeared, or the Brahman alone has appeared in all this form. That we call world. So world is nothing but Ishvara's manifestation, or Brahman's manifestation, appearance of the Brahman in various forms, whatever you say. So this is better. That's a better way of understanding. Anyway, so well, I mean, time is over basically, but so here, mrudaha anyat ghata swatmanam sarvam swatmanaha anyat na vidyate. There is nothing other than me. Swatmanam sarvam ikshate. Well, Gnani looks upon himself as swatmanam, as one looks upon himself as everything. And what is example? You see, what Shankaracharya ji did is, he has not given example in a verse number 47. You just see, there is no example. And in verse number 48, he has given example. It means what? 47 and 48 we have to combine together. That's what it is. So, for 47 and 47 should be read together, and both refer to this, both refer to one thing. What? A perspective change in a person when he gets knowledge. What is that perspective change? I have already told you, supported, etc. So, mrudaha anyat ghatadini na vidyate, that is an example. Mrudaha anyat ghatadini na vidyate. There are no earthenware separate from the clay. And when clay is in a clay form, definitely it is of no use. For utility, what clay has to become manifold, right? Then it becomes useful. He has to appear in many names and forms. All mithya, you know very well. Clay is satyam. What is mithya? So clay has to appear in many names and forms for usefulness. So Ishvara also, definitely same way, appears in many names and forms, and every form has a usage. And then only transaction takes place. When the forms are there, there is a transaction. And if forms are not there, and names are also definitely not there, there is no transaction. So that's how in sleep we don't have any kind of a transaction. The very transaction is possible right now. The Shastra is there, teacher is there, student is there, all names and forms. There is a transaction. Which kind of a transaction? That's a transaction in terms of knowledge, right? So that Jnana Vyavahara takes place because of what? Because the several names and forms are there. Therefore, so much useful. The Brahman, which is devoid of all names and forms, through Maya he has appeared in several names and forms, and then there is a transaction. And a very same example we can take. In a deep sleep state, when there is no name and form, well, there is no transaction. In a waking state, when several names and forms are there, well, I only, consciousness, identify with this particular name and form, and then transact with the other names and forms. So, Nama Rupa is very, very useful. We should know them as just as a Nama Rupa. You should know them as just a Nama Rupa. That essence is me. Essence is consciousness. Essence is existence. Essence is fullness, pervasiveness, all pervasiveness. So, yadvat mrudaha ghatadini anyat na vidyate, tadvat atmanaha anyat sarvam na vidyate. Just as this mrudaha, when there is all this ghatadini, these parts etc. are not different from this clay, same way entire the creation is non-separate from the Atma. Atma alone appears in all these names and forms, just as clay appear in different names and forms. So this is what the verse 48 says. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.